So far, in extension of solids, we have discussed the applications of the alpha beta gamma. Almost 11 applications were discussed. Next, 12th application or 12th node point. Suppose there are two uniform rods having same area of cross section. There are two uniform rods having same area of cross section. Suppose this is one rod, this is another rod. Here, this is one rod, this is one rod. Here, the coefficient of linear expansion is alpha 1. Initial here, initial length is say L1. Initial length L1. Here it is alpha 2, and initial length is say L2. Initial length is L2. When here two rods made of different materials having different lengths, but of course same area of cross section, they are joined together. They are joined together to form a composite rod. So it is the composite rod. It is the composite rod. So what is the total length of the composite rod? Total length of this composite rod is equal to L1 plus L2. So here at certain temperature, whenever the temperature is increased from theta 1 to theta 2 or T1 to T2, because no T term is there for other quantities. That's why you can write theta 1 to T1 to T2 or theta 1 to theta 2. When the temperature of the rod increases from T1 to theta 1 to theta 2, it is kept on, the rod is kept on the smooth horizontal floor. So when it is kept on the smooth horizontal floor and temperature is increased from theta 1 to theta 2, okay, then what happens? Expansion takes place in the rod and expansion takes place in the rod. That's why this composite rod will expand. Suppose the increase in length of this rod is a delta L1, increase in length of this rod is a delta L2. Total linear expansion of the rod. Total linear expansion of the rod. Total linear expansion delta L is equal to linear expansion of the first rod plus linear expansion of the second rod. So what is the linear expansion of the first rod? What is the linear expansion of the first rod? Linear expansion is increase in length of the first rod. What is the formula? Alpha L delta T, general formula. Because here since alpha is equal to increase in length by original length into rise of temperature. So increase in length or linear expansion is equal to alpha L into delta theta. No? So delta L1 means alpha 1 L1 into delta theta. Rise of temperature is delta theta is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1. Okay. Plus for the other rod, the increase in length is alpha 1 L1 into delta theta. This is the linear expansion of the composite rod. Linear expansion of the composite rod. So what is the average coefficient of linear expansion of the rod, single rod? What is the average, what is the coefficient of linear expansion of the single rod having length L1 plus S2, L1 plus L2 as the composite rod, in order to have the same linear expansion for the same rise of temperature? Is say alpha. If alpha is the average coefficient of linear expansion, of the linear expansion of composite rod, average coefficient of linear expansion of the composite rod. Okay, then the original initial length of the alpha is the average coefficient of linear expansion of the composite rod, means that is the coefficient of linear expansion of the single rod of length L1 plus L2 as that of the composite rod, to have the same linear expansion as that of the composite rod for the same rise of temperature. That alpha is called average coefficient of linear expansion. And initial length of the composite rod, the initial length of the single rod, which is equal to length of the composite rod initially, so L1 plus L2. Then what is the expansion for that? Delta is how much? So delta L is equal to, in case of single rod having average coefficient of expansion, linear expansion for the rise of temperature is same formula, alpha into initial length of the single rod. Here initially whatever the length of the composite rod, single rod must be having same length L1 plus L2. Okay, into rise of temperature delta theta. Okay, substitute this value here. Therefore, from delta L is equal to, of course, delta L1 plus delta L2. Delta L means you write this one, alpha into L1 plus L2 into delta theta is equal to, it is alpha 1 L1 delta theta plus alpha 2 L2 delta theta. Already I wrote here. Okay. So in all we can cancel delta theta. Then average coefficient of linear expansion alpha is equal to alpha 1 L1 plus alpha 2 L2 whole by L1 plus L2. Okay, this is the average coefficient of linear expansion of the single rod having same length as that of the composite rod. Okay, note down. Okay, shall I rise? If lengths are same, if lengths of two rods are same, L1 is equal to L2, then average coefficient of linear expansion. Initially, in this composite rod, the length of the two rods are same. In that case, what is the average coefficient of expansion? As L1, L2 are same, that is L. Then you write L here. So alpha 1 L plus alpha 2 L by L plus L. Alpha 1 L plus alpha 2 L by L plus L. That implies you will get alpha is equal to alpha 1 plus alpha 2 by 2. No? This is the average coefficient of linear expansion of the rod. Here, the linear expansion of the rod does not depend on the linear expansion of the rod does not depend on the area of cross section of the rod. It depends on the initial length of the rod, nature of material, and the rise of temperature. On these factors only depends. What is the area of cross section, on that the linear expansion does not depends. Okay. Suppose we are given two rods having same masses. All of you listen carefully. Two rods having same masses, but having different areas of cross section, A1, A2. Of course, A1 less than A2. Okay, definitely, as the two rods are having same masses, but one is having less area of cross section. A1 is less than A2. That's why the length of the rod having area of cross section A1 is more than that of the other. When both rods are raised by same rise of temperature, what about the linear expansions? Are the linear expansions are same or different? Tell me. Are the linear expansions are same or different? Here we are given 13th one. Two rods having same masses. Two rods having same masses, but different areas of cross section. Areas of cross section. Okay. Which rod will? So one is thin, one is thick. One rod is thin. Definitely mass are same, but different areas of cross section is the rod having less area of cross section is thin. One rod is thin and other is thick. Other is thick. Like this. This is one rod, this is other rod. Having same masses M, but area of cross section A1 here, area of cross section A2, length L1, here length L2. So area of cross section less than, first one is less than this one. Okay, now rise of temperature is same for both. Which rod will expand more? The expansion of rod is equal to alpha L into delta theta. No? Here rise of temperature is same. Okay, both are made of same material. Having coefficient same material means alphas are same. This is also constant. So increase in length is directly proportional to original length. Therefore, the increase in length of the first rod, as the length L1 is greater, A1 less than A2 means definitely L1 greater than L2, no? That's why whenever L1 greater than L2, then increase in length of the first rod greater than increase in length of the second rod. Next, 14th one. Suppose one rod, here this is the uniform rod having length L, coefficient of linear expansion alpha, length L, Young's modulus say Y. Elasticity is over now to you. Elasticity chapter is over now. Elasticity chapter is over now. Yes, okay. So coefficient of linear expansion alpha, initial length L, and Young's modulus say Y. Okay. Now, suppose this rod is fixed between two rigid supports. This rod is fixed between two rigid supports to prevent the expansion of the rod upon heating. Rise in temperature is say delta theta. So the temperature of the rod increases from theta 1 to theta 2. So rise in temperature is theta 2 minus theta 1. That can be written as delta theta. So actually, at a temperature theta 1, this is the length of the rod. When temperature increases to theta 2, rod will expand. Suppose one end of the rod is fixed and the other end is free to expand. Then because of rise of temperature, the rod expands up to this one. So it is increase in length of the rod, delta L. It is increase in length of the rod, delta L. But as the other end is also fixed rigidly to prevent the expansion, whatever the expansion that can take place in the rod upon heating, because of this rigid rod, as it is prevented, again it is compressed by this rigid support now. That's why whatever the linear expansion upon heating, the same length is compressed by this rigid support. That's why compression in the rod is also same. Compression in the rod is also same. Actually, the length of the rod becomes L plus delta L upon heating. But the length of the rod is again made L only by compressing them with the help of this support. That's why the compression of the rod is equal to E and linear expansion is L, delta L. That's why here, whenever the expansion of the rod is prevented upon heating, then the linear expansion is equal to elongation of the rod. What is the linear expansion? Linear expansion is we can write alpha into L into delta theta. No? What is the elongation? We know, suppose the Young's modulus of material of the rod is Y. Y is equal to F by area of cross section A, okay, into E by L. So E is equal to FL by A into Y. So elongation is equal to FL by A into Y. Okay, of course, L cancel. Therefore, F is equal to alpha Y alpha A into delta theta, where F is the, whenever the rod is compressed here, some force is developed in the rod, longitudinal force is developed in the rod, which is called the thermal force. So whenever the temperature increases, as the linear expansion is prevented by the support, some tension is developed in the rod, which is called the thermal force. This is called thermal force. So thermal force developed in the rod, thermal force and thermal stress. Thermal force and thermal stress. So this is the thermal force. Thermal stress is, it is also very, very important. Thermal stress means thermal force by area of cross section. That is equal to Y alpha delta theta only. These two formulas are also very, very important because they asked it in the exam, mains exam. Okay, thermal stress, thermal force. Both thermal stress and thermal force, both are very, very important one. Okay, next bimetallic. So before that bimetallic, one more simple concept is there. Bullock cart wheel, wooden wheel. Wooden wheel surrounded with iron ring. We know in case of bullock cart wheel, it is made of wooden wheel. Bullock cart is there now. In case of bullock cart, it is made of, it is having wooden wheel. Okay, over the wooden wheel, suppose this is the wooden wheel. This is the wooden wheel. Okay. Here the diameter of the radius of the wooden wheel or diameter of the wooden wheel. So this is a radius. Radius of the wooden wheel is capital. Okay. Over this wooden wheel, in order to fix the iron ring, iron ring means iron wheel or iron ring. దీని మీద ఐరన్ వీల్ ఫిక్స్ చేయాలి, టైట్ గా ఫిక్స్ చేయాలి, స్క్రూస్ ఏమి ఉండవు, టైట్ గా ఫిక్స్ చేయాలి. అయితే how generally they slip this iron ring over the wooden wheel. Actually, the iron here, this is the wooden wheel. It is wooden wheel. Okay, here iron ring is taken whose diameter or radius is less than the wooden wheel. So this is here. This is the iron ring. Iron ring. Here the radius of this iron ring is smaller. The iron ring is made with internal radius of the iron ring is less than the outer radius of the wooden wheel. Outer radius of the wooden wheel is inner radius of the iron ring. Thickness కూడా suppose ఒక కన్సిడర్ చేస్తే inner radius of the iron ring suppose smaller అనుకోండి, thickness negligible కాబట్టి radius of the iron ring or inner radius of the iron ring both are same. Here very clear, smaller less than capital. So while preparing the iron ring, it is prepared such that the radius of the iron wheel is a little bit less than the radius of the wooden wheel. Okay, now the iron ring is heated along its periphery or along its circumference uniformly by delta theta temperature. The iron ring is heated uniformly along its circumference by delta theta temperature. Rise in temperature is a delta theta. Then because of expansion, linear expansion, the iron ring expands. The iron ring expands so that the diameter of the iron ring or radius of the iron ring becomes a little bit greater than this wooden wheel. In such a way, it is heated. Okay, then this iron ring is kept over this one, or slipped over this one, or gripped over this one, and then whenever it is, this iron ring is fixed with this radius over this one, and cold water is poured on the iron ring. Cold water is poured on the iron ring. Whenever the ring which is expanded upon heating, when you pour the cold water, upon cooling it contracts. When it contracts, and whenever the radius of the iron ring decreases to radius of the wooden wheel, because the radius of the iron ring becomes greater than the radius of the wooden wheel when it is heated. But whenever it is flipped or gripped over the wooden wheel, and whenever it is cooled, it contracts, and whenever the radius of the iron ring becomes equal to radius of the wooden wheel, then it just come in contact with the wooden wheel. If further pour the cold water over the iron ring, then it will try to contract. The iron ring try to contract to this value. Iron ring try to contract, but there is no chance for the iron ring to contract beyond this R. That's why the iron ring gripped tightly over the circumference of the wooden wheel. In this way, the iron ring is gripped over the wooden wheel. The iron ring is gripped over the wooden wheel. Okay, now iron ring is fixed. In this way, iron ring is fixed over the wooden wheel like this. So iron ring is fixed over the wooden wheel like this. In this way. Okay, so this is one more example. Next, scale is already explained. Okay. Pendulum clock is over. Okay, next, one more example. 16th one. Suppose coefficient of linear expansion of the material is not constant. It varies with temperature. In such cases, that means variable coefficient of linear expansion is there. If the coefficient of linear expansion depends on the temperature of the body, in such case, how we can find the linear increase in length of the rod upon heating, or whatever the final length of the rod, how we can find? So coefficient of linear expansion. Variable coefficient of linear expansion, better to write. Variable coefficient of linear expansion. Alpha dash, right? Alpha dash. So the coefficient of linear expansion varies according to the equation alpha into T, where T is the temperature, where T temperature and alpha is constant. Alpha is not coefficient of linear expansion in the given formula, it is constant. Alpha dash we imagine as a coefficient of linear expansion. So whenever the variable coefficient of linear expansion is there, which varies with the temperature, in such case alpha dash varies with the temperature linearly according to the formula. Alpha dash is equal to alpha into T. That indicates alpha dash coefficient of linear expansion varies with the temperature linearly. In such case, how we can find? Okay, already we know the formula. Alpha is equal to or alpha dash is equal to increase in length of the rod. As alpha is variable, for the small rise of temperature, the small increase in length of the rod is say delta L. For the small increase in length, almost all alpha dash remains constant for small rise of temperature. That's why alpha dash is equal to small increase in length by original length L into rise of temperature d theta for small rise of temperature. This implies the linear expansion of the rod, small increase in length of the rod upon heating by small amount is equal to alpha dash L into d theta. Okay, by increasing temperature, when temperature increases from theta 1 to theta 2, suppose the length of the rod increases from L0 to or L1 to L2. Say, initial length of the rod is L1. Initial length of the rod is L1. That's why here we have to write L1. Okay. So L is equal to L1. Okay. Now from this formula, DL is equal to alpha dash. Alpha dash means alpha into capital T. Of course, here T is given. You better write T here because temperature is given T. That's why you write dt. dt. Here also dt. Okay. Here temperature T1 to T2. Better to write T1 to T2. Once it was in advance. So T1 to T2. T1 to T2. Okay. Now DL is equal to alpha into alpha. Okay, D1 is equal to alpha dash. Alpha dash means alpha D into initial length L into dt. Initial length L into dt. Therefore, total increase in length means integral dl is equal to integral alpha T into L dt. Limits here when temperature increases from T1 to T2, because we are integrating with respect to temperature only. Alpha is constant and capital L is constant. When temperature changes means only T changes. It is the initial length. That's why initial length is represented with here it is initial length. No, sorry, it is initial length. That's why you write L1. Initial length L1. Okay. So temperature increase from T1 to T2. Due to that, the length increase from L1 to L2. So integral dl means L. When you substitute the limits, you will get L2 minus L1. That is equal to integral alpha L1 T into dt. T1 to T2. Okay, from this formula, L2 is equal to, you bring this L1 to right, then capital L1 plus integral alpha, L1 is constant, we can write alpha is also constant, we can write alpha L1 dt, T1 to T2. So L1 plus, we can write alpha, L1 outside, integral alpha into, T is there, no? Alpha T. So T into dt, limits T1 to T2. Therefore, final length of rod at a temperature T2 becomes L1 you take common, 1 plus integral T1 to T2 alpha T dt. Once answer is given like this. Answer is given like this. Or in other words, L2 is equal to L1 into 1 plus, when you do integration, alpha into alpha is constant, you can write outside. Integral T dt means T square by 2, limits T1 to T2. Therefore, L2 is equal to L1 into 1 plus alpha into alpha by 2 into, first you substitute upper limit, T2 square minus T1 square. This is the final length of the rod. In this way also answer may be given. So this is the case whenever variable coefficient of linear expansion is there. Okay. Here, sometimes they may give alpha by t, alpha into t square like that, whatever it may be. This is the procedure we have to do. We have to follow. Okay. So this is one more concept. Next, bimetallic strip. That is very, very important. 17th one, bimetallic strip. Shall I write this one? Shall I write this one? Okay. Shall I raise? Okay. Seventeenth one, bimetallic strip. Two dissimilar metal pieces. Two dissimilar metal pieces means made of different materials having different coefficients of linear expansion. Two different metal pieces made of different two similar metal strips made of different materials. Similar metal strips means both are having same thickness, same length, same breadth. In this way, you take two similar metal strips made of different materials having different coefficients of linear expansion. You rivet them together. Suppose here two similar metal strips. This is one metal strip. It is another metal strip, but made of two different materials. Iron. It is a brass. So this is one metal. It is another metal. Both are having different coefficients of linear expansion. Then, but dimensions are same. Length, thickness, breadth, everything is same. So two similar metal strips made of different metals are riveted together to form a composite strip. Then such arrangement is called the bimetal strip. So two similar metal strips. Two similar metal strips made of different materials, made of different metals. Two similar metal strips made of different metals are riveted together. Riveted together to form a composite strip. It is a single strip. When riveted together, both becomes a single strip. Composite strip is called bimetallic strip. Is called bimetallic strip. Okay, suppose one is having coefficient of linear expansion alpha 1, or it is a alpha 1, it is a alpha 2. Or we take this is alpha 1, it is alpha 2. Okay. You take this is it is alpha 1, it is alpha 2. Of course, alpha 1 less than alpha 2, because for brass coefficient of linear expansion is more. So alpha 2 greater than alpha 1. In this way, we have constructed one bimetal strip. The temperature at which bimetal strip is made, that is straight. At what temperature bimetal strip is made? At that temperature, the bimetal strip is straight. అంటే ఏ టెంపరేచర్ దగ్గర అయితే దీన్ని మనం కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేసామో ఆ టెంపరేచర్ దగ్గర బైమెటల్ స్ట్రిప్ స్ట్రైట్ గా ఉంటుంది. అపాన్ హీటింగ్, సో నార్మల్ టెంపరేచర్ ఆర్ ద టెంపరేచర్ అట్ విచ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ మేడ్. నౌ వెన్ ఇట్ ఇస్ హీటెడ్, బైమెటల్ స్ట్రిప్ హీట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏది ఎక్కువగా ఎక్స్పాండ్ అవుతుంది సపరేట్ గా ఉంటే ఒకవేళ whenever bimetal strip is heated, in this bimetal strip, which metal expands more upon heating? Both are heated by same rise of temperature. When both are heated by same rise of temperature, then which metal piece will expand more if they can expand separately? As brass is having more alpha, brass expands more. But is there any chance for the two metal strips to expand separately? No, because they are riveted together. But definitely the length of the brass must be more. That's why the bimetal strip bent like this. The bimetal strip bent like this. Okay. So as alpha T is more, upon heating, the bimetal strip is bent such that the concave surface The concave surface, this is the concave surface and it is the concave surface. The concave surface occupies the metal having less coefficient of linear expansion, and convex surface occupies the metal having more coefficient of linear expansion. That's why it is the brass and it is the iron. Suppose it is cooled below the temperature at which it is constructed. దీన్ని ఏ టెంపరేచర్ దగ్గర అయితే కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేసామో ఆ టెంపరేచర్ కంటే తక్కువ టెంపరేచర్ కి కూల్ చేసాం. The metal which is heated expands more. The metal which expands more upon heating contracts more upon cooling. That's why whenever it is cooled, the brass contracts more than the iron. When brass contracts more than the iron, the length of the iron must be more. In such a way, the bimetal strip will be bent. Okay, that's why bimetal strip bends like this. It is the brass, alpha 2, alpha 1, on cooling. On cooling, the metal whose coefficient of linear expansion is more having less length. That's why concave surface is the metal having more coefficient of linear expansion on cooling, and convex surface is the metal having more coefficient of linear expansion. Sorry, less coefficient of linear expansion. In such a way, the bimetal strip bends. What, Gaurav? What is your doubt? Upon cooling, the metal whose coefficient of linear expansion is more occupies the concave surface, and whose coefficient of linear expansion is less occupies the convex surface. What, Gaurav? What is your doubt? Gaurav. No, sir. You said no. No, something. You chatted, no? No, sir. You put. That's why I'm asking. Okay, right. So whenever the bimetal strip is bent like this on heating or cooling, then what is the radius of curvature? Here it is bent in the form of an arc now. So what is the radius of curvature? What is the radius of curvature? At normal temperature means the temperature at which it is constructed. It is straight. On cooling, bent like this, and on heating, bent like this. Okay. Then in both the cases, it bends in the form of an arc of the circle. So definitely it is having radius of curvature now. So what is the radius of curvature? We have to find. Now, at normal temperature, at normal temperature at which bimetal strip is made, that is straight. Okay. The thickness of the bimetal strip is say D. Upon heating, the thickness, there is no considerable change in the thickness because thickness is very small. Thickness is very small. That's why there is no considerable change in the thickness of the bimetal strip upon heating. Okay. Now, whenever it is heated, on heating, upon heating, it bends in the form of arc, so that what is the metal occupies the concave surface? Tell me. Upon heating, what is the metal occupies the concave surface? Concave surface ఏ metal occupy చేస్తుంది? 1 అంటే upper metal alpha 1. Convex surface ఏమో alpha 2 కదా. So here it is the sum of curvature. Oh, okay. Okay, now here you see, as upon heating, the metal whose alpha value is more means alpha 2 is more. That's why it occupies the convex surface means alpha 2. Here it is alpha 1. Okay. Now what is the radius of curvature of this bimetal strip means midline is this one. So this is the radius of curvature. This is the radius of curvature R. Okay. Next, what about this thickness? This is one thickness of one metal strip only, that is equal to d by 2. The thickness of the other metal means this one, that is equal to all, that is also equal to d by 2. Okay, now suppose the angle subtended by this arc at the center is say theta. Angle subtended by the arc at the center is equal to theta. Then from the diagram, theta is equal to arc by radius, no? Theta is equal to arc by radius. So theta is equal to arc means this length. In case of this one, suppose this length becomes, final length of this rod becomes say L1. Initially both are having same length L0. Okay, now this length, final length becomes L1, this length becomes L2. Okay, now what is the radius of, here you see, the radius of curve, theta is equal to arc by radius. Whatever the length of this part, whatever length of this one and whatever the length of this one. Arc by radius means how we can write this length. L1 is equal to, how we can write? How we can write L1? Okay, you take here while deriving the formula, he has taken the thickness of each strip is D. D is the thickness of each strip. You remember that point. D is the thickness of each strip. Because we have to follow the same symbol. Of course, this also we can do, but we have to follow same symbol. D, thickness of each strip. You remember that point. Thickness of each strip. You follow that point. That means total thickness of the bimetal strip becomes D by D. Thickness of each strip is equal to D. Okay. Now, here theta is equal to arc by radius. Arc means for this one, L1 by radius. What is the radius of this part? You see, you draw a middle line. You draw a midline like this. This is the radius of this one. That is R1. This is radius R1. And here, if you draw the midline here, this is the radius R2. How we can write R1, R2? L1 by R1 is equal to L2 by R2. What about L1? What about the final length of this rod? Here L1 means it is the final length of the rod. Initial length is L0. What about the final length of the rod? How we can write the final length of the rod? We know since alpha is equal to change in length by original length into rise of temperature delta theta. Okay. From this L minus L0 is equal to alpha L0 into delta theta. L0 is the original length. From this alpha is equal to L0 plus alpha L0 delta theta. When you take L0 common, alpha 1 plus alpha into delta theta. It is the final length of the rod. So here we substitute L1 means final length of this rod. That is equal to L0 into 1 plus alpha 1 into rise of temperature delta theta by R1. What about R1 here? Radius of this part. What is the radius of this part? This is radius of this bimetal strip is capital R. And the total thickness midline is kada. Radius of the bimetal strip is R. But R1 ante R minus D by 2 kada. This length is equal to D by 2 because the thickness of the strip is D. So this is D by 2. So from R you subtract D by 2. Then radius of the this lower metal strip is equal to R1 is equal to R minus D by 2. R minus D by 2. That is equal to, for this, L0 into 1 plus alpha 2 into delta theta, because both are having initially same length. Okay. By R2 means this is the radius. This is the radius of this upper bimetal strip. R plus D by 2, no? So you write R plus D by 2. Of course, L0 cancel. Do cross multiplication. R plus D by 2 of 1 plus alpha 1 delta theta is equal to R minus D by 2 of 1 plus alpha 2 delta theta. Okay, now we multiply them. R plus R alpha 1 First you multiply with r into this one, r plus r alpha 1 delta theta plus d by 2 plus d by 2 plus d by 2 into alpha 1 delta theta, d by 2 alpha 1 delta theta is equal to, here also first you multiply with r plus r alpha 2 delta theta minus d by 2 into 1, so minus d by 2 minus plus minus d by 2 into alpha delta theta. Here r cancel, r can be cancelled, so remaining is, you see here alpha 1 d by 2, here minus, okay, you bring this to right, left, you bring that part to left, okay, then r into, here this is one part, this is another part, as alpha 2 is greater, no, alpha 2 greater, okay, you bring this to right, then r alpha 2 delta theta minus r alpha 1 delta theta, you write like this, r alpha 2 delta theta minus r alpha 1 delta theta is equal to what? You keep this here only, you bring this to right, then remaining all terms you bring to left, then minus d by 2, when you bring to left, d by 2, d by 2 plus d by 2, d plus d by 2 alpha 1 delta t minus, when you bring this term to left, it becomes plus, so d by 2 alpha 1 delta theta plus d by 2 alpha, it is alpha 2, no, alpha 2 delta theta. Okay, now here you take r delta theta common, r delta theta, when you take common alpha 2 minus alpha 1 you can have, this is equal to, here you take d common in all, then d of 1 plus, here also we take delta theta common, no, in these two terms only we can take common, d by 2 into delta theta, when you take common, then alpha 1 plus alpha 2 you can have. Okay, here all d is taken common, no? So d is also not there here. Here d is not there. One by two. Okay, therefore, when compared with this one, this alpha 1 plus alpha into delta theta by 2 is very, very, very small. That's why it can be ignored. This part can be ignored when compared with 1. Therefore, r delta theta into alpha 2 minus alpha 1 is equal to simply d only, d into 1, d only. Since 1 is by far greater than delta theta into alpha 1 plus alpha 2 by 2. Alpha 1 plus alpha 20, నీకు alpha 1 value చెప్పే మార్నింగ్ 0.502 like that. Compared with this one, that is negligible. That's why you neglect this term. Then d into 1 d. Therefore, radius of curvature of the bimetallic strip, radius of curvature of bimetallic strip, radius of curvature of bimetallic strip, comma r is equal to d by alpha 2 minus alpha 1 into delta theta. This is the formula for radius of curvature of bimetallic strip. From this, therefore, r is inversely proportional to alpha 2 minus alpha 1, inversely proportional to delta theta. Okay, proportional to thickness. Proportional to d means it is the thickness of each strip. D is the thickness of each strip. What the thickness of the bimetallic strip is 2d. D is the thickness of each strip. That is important. Okay. So this is the relation. No doubt. Very, very important one. Here, what are the advantages of this bimetallic strip? What are the advantages of the bimetallic strip? Okay, here bimetallic strip is used as a thermostat to control the temperature. In AC refrigerators, whenever sufficient temperature, required temperature is reached, immediately the power will be turned off. Because in such thermostat arrangement is there. Thermostat is made with bimetallic strip. Okay, actually, bimetallic strip is fixed at one end. Bimetallic strip is fixed at one end in the refrigerator or this refrigerator or ACs, etc. Okay. So whenever the bimetallic strip is fixed at one end, here suppose this is the alpha 2 greater, no? So here one wire is kept in contact with this metal piece at this point. Here it is connected to the circuit. So whenever the bimetal strip is in contact with this one, the current passing through the circuit and the refrigerator will turn on or AC will turn on. In such a way, mechanism is there. Of course, I am not showing that entire diagram here, as time does not permit me. And thermostat working is not there in our syllabus also. Just we use that word. Okay, now as long as the current passing through the circuit, then the temperature of as the current passing through the circuit here, as it offers somewhat more resistance, the temperature of this bimetal strip gradually increases, and whenever temperature increases, it bends as it is fixed. The length of this lower metal must be more than the length of the upper metal when it is heated. That's why it bends like this. When it bends like this, it loses contact with the wire. Whenever it loses contact with the wire, immediately the power will be turned off. It will be turned off. So no current passing through there. When no current passing through this bimetal strip, then gradually, because of atmospheric temperature, the temperature of the bimetal strip gradually decreases and again come in contact. Again, whenever come in contact, again the current will flow through the circuit, again switch on, and again refrigerator works or AC works. In such a way, the temperature of the room or temperature of the refrigerator will be controlled under careful control with the help of this arrangement. This arrangement is called this arrangement by bimetal strip is called the thermostat. That's why the bimetal strip can be used as a thermostat to control the temperature. Okay. So 18th one, bimetallic strip is used to control the temperature. The bimetal strip is used as thermostat, right? As thermostat to control the temperature. Bimetal strip is used as thermostat to control the temperature. In AC or refrigerator, what it may be. Any temperature controlling devices to control the temperature. So thermostat means it is the device which can control the temperature is called thermostat, which is made of bimetal strip. Okay, that is about bimetal strip. Next, another note point. Shall I raise this part? Shall I raise this part? Nineteenth one. Suppose three identical rods made of different metals are joined together or welded together to form a triangle, equilateral triangle. To form an equilateral triangle. Suppose you see this is one rod, another rod, it is another rod. Here, these two rods, this rod is having length L1, made of metal alpha 1. This rod is having length L2, made of metal alpha 2. Of course, it is also made of metal alpha 2 only. Alpha 2. Initial length is L1. Here, L1 is equal to L2 is equal to L. That means both are having initially same lengths. But in order to distinguish the three rods as the different rods, I have given symbols L1, L2 like that. But all are having same lengths. L1 is equal to L2 is equal to F. To distinguish the initial length of the first rod, initial length of the second rod, I represented with L1, L2. Okay, now here this is kept, here it is hinged at this point. It is hinged at this point, or it is kept over the sharp edge. it is kept over the sharp edge, and here a disc is fixed. It is called compensated pendulum. Compensated pendulum. Compensated pendulum. It is one type of pendulum because different types of pendulums are there. It is one type of pendulum. Compensated pendulum. In this compensated pendulum, time period depends on the time period t pi equal 2 pi t equal 2 pi root L by Z. L means effect length. Central here the mass of these rods can be neglected, but here central mass of this disc is here. Okay, then this is the effective length of the pendulum, compensated pendulum. Suppose when temperature increase because of expansion of the rods here, this height increase no, but height must be maintained constant. When height remains constant, then 2 pi root L by Z, that L is equal to H, that remains constant. When it is constant, the time period remains constant. Such type of pendulum is called compensated pendulum. So compensated pendulum is the simple pendulum, or it is one type of pendulum whose time period remains constant at all temperatures. That is called the compensated pendulum. That is called the compensated pendulum. Okay. Suppose in case of simple pendulum also, suppose if the pendulum is made with inverse steel and nickel alloy, their coefficient of linear expansion is almost negligible. At any temperature, their length also remains constant. So if we make the pendulum with inverse steel, then their time period is also constant at all temperatures. That is also compensated pendulum. Here, this is also compensated pendulum. By means of multiple rods, we can construct the compensated pendulum. So here one type of pendulum. As it is compensated pendulum, length means this one, that H must be constant. For compensated pendulum, effective length H must be constant. Must be constant. Effective length H must be constant means it is independent on temperature. That is, height of this frame must be H must be independent on H must be independent on temperature. Okay. So you see, what about this length? At a given temperature T1, the length of this rod is L1, this length is equal to L2 by 2, we can write. Okay, then from this here right angle triangle, according to Pythagoras principle, L1 square is equal to L2 by 2 whole square plus H square, we can write now. So L1 square is equal to L2 square by 4 plus H square. Here, even temperature changes, the height must be constant. That's why with the temperature, this H should not be changed for compensated pendulum. That's why differentiate this equation with respect to temperature. So on differentiating with respect to temperature, d by d theta of L1 square is equal to d by d theta of L2 square by 4 plus d by d theta of H square. So d by d theta of L1 square means we can write 2L1 into dL1 by d theta. That is equal to, here 1 by 4 you keep aside, into d by d theta of L2 square means when temperature increases, L2 also changes. This expands now. This also expands. That's why L2 changes. So it is variable. So differentiation of L2 square means 2L2 into dL2 by d theta. Plus, as it is constant, it must be constant according to the compensated pendulum. Because of this compensated pendulum, it is constant. When you differentiate them, it must be 0 because it is constant. So from this 2L1 dL1 by d theta is equal to, here 2 twos are cancelled. Of course, these two cancel. We can cancel. Okay, now L1 dL1 by dt is equal to L2 by 4 into dL2 by d theta. So L1 into dL1 by d theta. How we can write? dL1 by d theta means, since coefficient of linear expansion alpha 1 is equal to increase in length of the rod dL1 by initial length L1 into d theta. No? Similarly, alpha 2 is equal to dL2 by L2 into d theta. So according to this formula, you tell me dl1 by d theta is equal to alpha 1 L1. Alpha 1 into L1 is equal to L2 by 4 into dl2 by d theta means alpha to L2, no? Alpha to L2. So here, therefore, what about the relation between ratio of the lengths? Here you see alpha 1 L1 square is equal to alpha 2 by 4 into L2 square. Okay, therefore you write L1 by L2. You write L1 by L2. L1 square by L2 square means L1 by L2 whole square is equal to alpha 2 by 4 alpha 1. Alpha 2 by 4 alpha 1 or L1 by L2 is equal to root of alpha 2 by 4 alpha 1. So for the compensated pendulum, the ratio between lengths L1 and L2 is equal to root alpha 2 by 4 alpha 1. That is the formula. Of course, we can write 1 by 2 something else. It is the compensated pendulum. It is the compensated pendulum. Okay. Now last point is there. Only one point is there. Last point. Okay. I will explain that one within 10 minutes. I will conclude the class. Okay. 8:59 now. Just 5-10 minutes maximum. Have you noted this one? Have you noted this one? Okay. So 20th. Suppose between two rigid supports, a composite rod is fixed. Between two rigid supports, a composite rod is fixed. Having same area of cross section. Having different lengths, of course. Here, up to this, it is one metal rod. Up to this, it is another metal rod. Coefficient of linear expansion of this metal rod is say alpha 1. Alpha 1. For this, it is alpha 2. And Young's modulus of this metal rod, Y1, here Y2. Initial length of this metal rod, L1, here initial length is L2. At temperature theta 1 or T1. At a temperature theta 1. Okay. Theta 1. Of course, at temperature theta 1 initially. At a temperature theta 1, this is the composite rod. And it is the interface. This is called interface. It is the interface. Or it is the position of interface X1 at theta 1 temperature. Position of interface at temperature theta 1 is equal to X1. When this composite rod is heated to temperature theta 2, when temperature of this composite rod is heated to theta 2, then this rod expands in this direction, this rod expands in this direction. Suppose this interface is not there, these two rods are kept like this. Then this rod expands in this direction, this rod expands in this direction. Suppose this rod expands in this direction up to this. This is the increasing length of the first rod. This rod expands in this direction. So this is the increasing length of the second rod. When the rods are not, the expansion of the rods are not prevented by joining here. In that case, this rod expands in this direction up to this. This is delta L2. Here it is delta L1. Okay. Now, but as this is the composite rod. These two are welded together. It is the junction. That's why here, because of interfaces welded together or joined together. Okay. Then the junction. It was observed that when temperature is increased from theta 1 to theta 2, the junction replaces from this position to this position. X2 position is shifted in junction. x1 నుంచి x2 పొజిషన్ కి డిస్ప్లేస్ అయింది. సో పొజిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఆర్ జంక్షన్, పొజిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఆర్ junction at temperature theta 2 is equal to say x2. Then what is the displacement of the interface? Therefore, displacement of interface due to rise of temperature. Displacement of interface is equal to x, which is equal to x2 difference x2, x1. Okay, you keep like this one. X2 difference x1. It is the displacement of the interface that we have to calculate. And moreover, whenever the composite rod is heated, then expansion takes place. But that expansion is compressed, no? That expansion is compressed by these rigid supports, no? That's why in both the rods, some tension is developed, which is called the thermal force. As these two composite rods are in series, because they are connected end to end, same thermal force is developed here, and same thermal force is developed here. That's why thermal forces developed in the two rods are same. As area of cross sections are also same, thermal stresses are also same. Therefore, thermal force. What is the formula for thermal force? Thermal force in this rod, both are same as they are in series. Okay, that's why thermal force F is equal. What is the formula? Y alpha A delta theta. No, Y means Y1 alpha 1 area of cross section A into delta theta. For that, Y2 alpha 2 A delta theta. Therefore, Y1 alpha 1 is equal to Y2 alpha 2. This is the condition. It is the relation among Y1 alpha 1, Y2 alpha 2. Okay. Now, what is the displacement of the interface? What is the displacement of the interface we need? And what about the thermal force developed? We have to find the thermal force developed also. Here we see displacement of interface x is equal to, how we can write from the diagram, tell me. Actually, this rod, whenever heated, this first rod expanded up to this one, delta L1. But because of these two are fixed between the two rigid supports, again it is compressed by rigid support. No, that compression is say E1 in case of first rod. In case of second rod, it is the increase in length of the second rod. But it is compressed up to this. That's why this is the compression in the second rod, that is E2. So from the diagram, how we can write x in terms of expansion of the first rod? How we can write displacement of the interface in terms of expansion of the second rod? Tell me from the diagram. By linear relation, how we can write x? You see, this is delta L1, this is E1, then this is x. No, this is the displacement of the interface, that is x. So x can be written as delta L1 minus E1. Delta L1 minus E1. In case of this rod, we have written for this rod. Tell me. Here actually, whenever heated, this rod expands. This rod expands from this position to this position. Okay, but again, because of this rigid support, it is fixed. It is compressed so that its length decreases to this part. Okay, so E2 minus, అంటే యాక్చువల్ గా ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఇక్కడ ఉందండి, ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ ఇక్కడ దాకా జరిగింది, మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ నుంచి కంప్రెస్ చేసేసరికి ఇక్కడికి. కాబట్టి డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ అంటే దిస్ లెంత్ మైనస్ దిస్ లెంత్ వేస్తే మనకి ఈ లెంత్ వచ్చేది. ఇదేగా ఈ లెంత్ కదా మనకు కావాల్సింది. ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఈ లెంత్ లో నుంచి ఈ రాడ్ ఇక్కడ దాకా ఎక్స్టెండ్ అయిందండి. ఇక్కడ అలాంగ్ కంప్రెషన్ ఇక్కడ వరకే కదా, ఇది కదా ఇంటర్ఫేస్, కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ వరకే తీసుకోండి కంప్రెషన్. Okay, from the diagram, how we can write E2? How we can write x2 in terms of E2 delta L2? E2 నుంచి delta L2 subtract this x again. So E2 minus delta L2. Now we substitute the values. Delta L1 means, in case of first rod, in case of this rod, delta L1 means alpha 1 L1 into delta theta. We can write minus E1. How we can write E1? Elongation is equal to, we can write F L by A into Y. We can write, no, FL by A into Y. Here areas of cross section we have taken same. If they are different, you have to write A1. So here E1 means F, as both rods are composite rods, they are connected end to end series. That's why same force, same thermal force is developed in both the rods. That's why here you write F into first rod L1 by A into Y1. Here this is equal to E2 means FL2 by A into Y2 minus delta L2 means alpha L2 delta theta. We have to find F value. You bring this F to right. You bring this F to right. Okay, or you bring this one to left. Then alpha 1 L1 delta theta minus alpha 2 L2 delta theta is equal to. Okay, you keep this here only and you bring this to right. No, it becomes plus now. This becomes plus. When you bring this to left, it becomes plus. Now we bring this to right. Then FL2 by AY2 plus FL1 by A into Y1. Okay, now you take F common here. When you take F common, L2 by AY2 plus L1 by AY1. We can take A also common. You can take A also common. You write A also common here. Because A is also same. No? If they are different, we have to keep like that only. Otherwise, we can write outside. So by A. It is equal to alpha 1 L1 plus alpha 2 L2 of delta theta. That is equal to F by A into L2 by Y2. Okay, you take LCM. You take LCM. You take LCM and you substitute. Y1 L2 plus Y2 L1 by Y1 Y2. Now, therefore, thermal force developed in the composite rod, thermal force, F is equal to, you bring all to left. Okay, then A into Y1 into Y2 into alpha 1 L1 plus alpha 2 L2 into delta theta whole by Y1 L2 plus Y2 L1. Okay, this is the formula for thermal force. This is the formula for thermal force. What about displacement of the interface that we need? So thermal force is equal to, we have Y1 Y2 delta theta into alpha 1 L1 plus alpha 2 L2 Okay, this is the thermal force. Thermal stress means, what about the thermal stress? Thermal stress. Thermal force is this one. Thermal stress means F by A, no? That is equal to, just you bring this A to the denominator here. Then Y1, Y2 into alpha 1 L1 plus alpha 2 L2 of delta theta whole by Y1 plus Y1 L2 plus Y2 L1. Okay, this is the formula for thermal stress. Just it will be completed. Okay. Now, what about the displacement of the interface? Interface displaces by a length x, no? Interface displaces by a length equal to x1, x here. Displacement of the interface is equal to x. What is that x value? We have to find finally. That's a substitution. Last two lines. So displacement of the interface, x is what? As we know the thermal force F, then displacement of interface is equal to x. That x is equal to, from the diagram you see, from the equation there, you see, you can use any formula. Displacement of interface x is equal to delta L1 minus E1. That is equal to delta L1 means we can write alpha 1 L1 delta theta. E1 means F into length of the rod L1 by area of cross section A into x minus y. Okay, therefore x is equal to alpha 1 L1 delta theta minus F means already we have substitute A into Y1 Y2 alpha 1 L1. Of course, we can substitute directly F by A value. No, we can substitute directly F by A value. We substitute directly F by A value here. F by A means this one. So Y1 Y2 alpha 1 L1 plus alpha 2 L2 into delta theta by Y2 here Y1 L1 Y1 L1 Y1 L2 Y1 L2 plus Y2 L1 Okay. It is F by A into L1 by Y1 is there. L1 by Y1 is right. Okay. Y1 can be cancelled. This Y1 can be cancelled. Then do cross multiplication and simplify them. When you simplify them, after simplification, whatever the value you will get, I am writing that formula only directly. So here L1, L2 into alpha 1 Y1 minus alpha 2 Y2 into delta theta whole by Y1 L2 plus Y2 L1 you will get. If L1 L2 both are equal, if L1 L2 both are equal, then you put L here L you take common. Here L square you will get, one L will be cancelled, only L0 will be there. Okay. If L1 L2 are equal, then we can write like that. If L1 L2 are equal, last slide. If initial length of the two rods are same, that means interface is exactly at the middle. In such case, lengths of the two rods are same. That is called say L0. Then displacement of the interface x is equal to L1 L2. Instead of L1 L2, write L0 only. L0 into L0, L0 square into alpha 1 Y1 minus alpha 2 Y2 into rise of temperature delta theta whole by Y1 into L0 plus Y2 into L0. You take L0 common and you cancel them. Remaining is one L0 we can cancel. L0 of alpha 1 Y1 minus alpha 2 Y2 into delta theta whole by Y1 plus Y. This is the displacement of the interface whenever the rise in temperature is delta theta. So L0 into alpha 1 Y1 minus alpha 2 Y2 by Y1 plus Y2 into delta theta. Okay, this is the formula. These are the some important note points in expansion of solids. Okay. Now, based on this, you will be given problems. Already, I kept the problems to be done today in your group. You do those problems based on these formulas, and of course, based on the concepts I said in the morning class also. Okay, right now. Have a nice day. Enjoy with doing problems. Bye, all of you. What is your doubt? In thermal stress is in thermal stress, A means area of cross section of the rod. No, Girish, Sai Krishna. A is the area of cross section of the rod. Each rod, both are same. Area of cross sections of the both the rods are same there. Okay, Girish, Sai Krishna. I will be here only. I will be with you only, Pranit. I will be with you only. Okay, right now. Right now, start doing problems. I will be here only.